Hello and welcome to another issue of Random Reviews with Brandon. So, yes, this week I have count 'em, two movies. The first one being the 1980s something. The John Carpenter's The Thing. I also have, I guess Source Code. I don't really know who directed it off the top of my head. Source Code. So, let's get ready to review. So, my first movie I'm going to touch on is Source Code, directed by Duncan Jones. He's the guy who made Moon. If you haven't seen Moon, people, you have to see Moon. Because, Moon is a lot like this movie. I mean, it's suspenseful, it's a little dark, and it has like a fucking hell of a twist in it. So, I have to say, Source Code. This is about, you got Jake Gyllenhaal. He's like an ex-pilot soldier named Coulter Stevens. And, he randomly wakes up on this train in the beginning, and he's just like, what the hell's going on? And this girl, who is played by Michelle McGonagall, she was from, only movie I really remember from it is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang as the chick he knows. And her, she is just chatting with him, just acting like she really knows him. He's like, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. And he's trying to explain this, and all of a sudden, explosion! And then he just wakes up in this room with like a computer screen, and he's sitting in this chair, and it's all cold and shit, and he's just like, what the hell? And, it's frozen, he's freezing. And eventually he finds out, and he is in this simulation, and I think they call it Source Code. And he's trying to, the government has put him there trying to figure out who blew up the train. Trying to, basically, he gets like 8 minutes each time, and he gets the same 8 minutes no matter what. He dies, he comes back, he dies, comes back, dies, comes back, and it's kind of like a weird sci-fi version of Groundhog Day. So he keeps reliving it, and he's trying to find the bomb, the person who blew it up. He's trying to see if he can stop the bomb, even though they keep telling him that you can't stop this. This isn't real. You're in a simulation. But he doesn't want to believe him for some reason. Like, he becomes really attached, especially to the girl, who, her name is Kristen Warren, who is Michelle McGonagall's character. He also keeps getting debriefed by Colleen Goodwin, who is his commanding officer. She is played by Vera, I cannot pronounce her last name. You've seen her. She was she was like the therapist in The Departed, and she was also in this year's The Conjuring as the wife. So she has been in a few things, and so she's basically trying to debrief him, saying, okay, who is it? And sometimes, he's just like, he gets to this point where he doesn't want to answer, and he wants questions on his own, and, they just send him back in. He's just like, no, where's my dad? Where's this? I want to tell him. And you really feel sorry for Jake Gyllenhaal. I started really feeling sorry for him. I'm just like, oh, this poor son of a bitch. Did he he doesn't even remember volunteering for this. He doesn't know what's going on. Excellent story. Seriously, and not a lot of people, to my knowledge, have even seen this film. I really highly recommend seeing this film. It really was, it is a really great sci-fi thriller. It really is. With a great ending. It was written by Ben Ripley. Ben Ripley, he really hasn't done shit. I mean, he did a couple of short films. This, without a doubt, is his only claim to fame. I mean, he's a writer, and yeah, he doesn't even have any big movies coming out either. So, Ben Ripley, good job. You did great. I really want to say, though, that Duncan Jones is the one who really had his hands in this, really forming this story around. All I could say is, everything, this whole film is just excellent. I'm gonna, rating-wise, I was thinking about it, giving this a rating, and I gotta say it is damn near perfect. You're trying to think, well, what is wrong with this, Brian? If it's damn near perfect, what is wrong? I think maybe the only thing I find really wrong with it, it's the sci-fi thing, but it's based on modern times. And it was a little part of my disbelief, like saying that we would even have this form of technology. That's about it. I mean, that's the only thing. It just kind of got between my disbelief. I really have no problems with this movie. It is something I still say it's a must see. If you have not seen this, or if you want to see it again because me talking about it got you going, I really highly recommend this. 4.5 out of 5. This is really a damn near perfect movie. It's one of those movies when you first see it, you're just gonna be blown the fuck away. This is really one of those movies where I'm just like, you have to see this. Alright. Sometimes I really do feel like I'm turning into like Lando Calrissian when I just go, alright. Alright, so the other movie I got is The Thing, John Carpenter's movie. Back when John Carpenter was a badass. Alright, I didn't know, it was 1982, by the way. 1982. The Thing, this is actually a remake of A Thing from Another Planet. But I hear that one's really dog shit, so I never watched it. This one, you know what? This is gonna be hard for some people to really grasp their heads around this. Probably my favorite, without a doubt, horror film out there. Yes, it's a horror sci-fi film, but it's still a horror film in its bare bones. So, what's going on in this plot? You got Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell is, he is R.J. McReady. Or McRatty, or whatever. And he's on there, he's with like about 10 to 12 different guys. They're all in Antarctica. And, he's the pilot that gets them from point A to point B or whatever. And basically what they see is the Swedish team that's, many miles away. They're chasing after this dog in a helicopter, shooting at it with a gun. They're like, whoa, what the fuck? And then he ends up shooting at them too, and they end up killing these last two people. They're like, okay, what the hell happened? So they go all the way down to the Swedish base, and they find just a bunch of dead bodies. But then they find one thing in particular. Something that looks like it was like an amalgamation of a bunch of humans into one, but it was burnt. It's dead. This thing's dead. And they're like, okay, what's going on here? So they take that with them, and this dog that the Swedes were shooting at is still walking around. Eventually, towards the half hour to 45-minute mark, the dog starts trying to turn into other dogs, and it's splitting apart all nasty. It's as a dog lover, I get a little sad at that point when I'm seeing all these dogs just getting killed and shit. And so all the guys find out, they're like, what the fuck? And eventually they find out whatever this thing is, it's an alien. They do know this. They do know his spaceship crashed. It must have crawled out and froze. And the Swedish team is the one that, revived it. Well, alright. So they know this thing copies. It does not live on its own. It copies. So no one knows what this thing looks like. But then again, this dog was walking around with them. So who knows all it could have affected? It could have infected like 2, 3 of them, all of them for all one of them knows. And it really becomes this wonderful, suspenseful, like, thriller, basically, where, these people are all just like, that no one trusts anybody. Everyone's just kind of like, oh, how do I know I can trust you? Or how can I know I can, it becomes this horrible thing where, these guys are turning on each other. They're trying to figure out tests they can do to try to figure out who's human, what's not. I do have to say the practical effects in this movie are fan-fucking-tastic. It's some of the best practical effects, and for that time, it's even better. You just see these, seeing when a guy has found out that he, and they're like, wait, you're the Thing. He starts, the Thing will transform to protect itself, so it starts just breaking apart, just turning into this mutant creature from the underworld, basically. It's this horrible monster. And they're, the only way to kill it, from anyone's knowledge, is with fire, so they have to use flamethrowers to take this thing down. And it's just so powerful. It's just a great fucking, every time they transform, it's always something new, different, interesting, and it's just like, damn, it's kind of, unlike with the newest one where they use visual, like when they use CG effects, when they use the practical effects, it just looks so much better, and even more realistic, I have to say. Kurt Russell is the main character, and he kind of shares a little bit the spotlight with some of the others, One of them being Keith David, which he plays as this, a little bit crazy, black-eyed, or not black, of course he's black, named Childs. And Childs, he's not the Keith David we know where he's all serious and has that raspy voice and all that, where he's a bad motherfucker with his voice. This is like Keith David being like, the eccentric black man, what the fuck, man? That type of thing. I know as a white man this might even be offensive. I apologize. But, those are the two big actors in this movie. I didn't really recognize anybody else, but those two are the ones that are just trying to they're kind of, they really focus on, what's his face? God damn, I'm already blanking on his name. They're really focused on Kurt Russell, who does an amazing job. He really is just basically, this is the back in the 80s where he was kind of just that same Snake Plissken, serious, long-haired, bearded dude. I mean, he was that character. He just, he was almost damn near typecast at that character at the time. But yeah, just them trying to figure out what's going on here. And you know what I really love about this movie? Well, they explain that the thing is an alien. They don't show what it looks like or anything. They really leave a lot of mystery to this thing. They don't go to the home planet or anything. And I think that's where a lot of these horror movies fail. When they get this big old series going on, like the first movie for every horror series is always fantastic because they have so much mystery around this character, so much mystery around Mike Myers. It is sort of frightening. Now this movie isn't scary, really. It is very blood-filled, so if you're squeamish with blood, I would not recommend this. But they don't explain what the thing is. They don't explain where it came from, what's going on. They don't really explain anything. And the field of mystery is the greatest horror of all. And you might have heard me and Nikki G in our Movie Thing podcast talk about this, saying how the field of mystery is probably the strongest element you can have. And that's where a lot of these start failing. Even with the prequel movie, The Thing, it doesn't ruin it. So people who are like, I'm a diehard fan of this movie, and I even like the prequel movie. But with this movie, I can't say if you like any type of horror at all, you would love this movie. I don't know anybody I could not recommend this movie to. This is a timeless classic. The effects aren't cheesy, the story is original and great. I fucking love it. I can't say anything bad about this movie. It starts out, it doesn't even start out slow. I was going to say it starts out a little slow. No. It starts you out right in the heat of shit. Like, the very opening scene is them shooting at the damn dog. And then they establish the characters, and then you get right into the whole, oh, fuck. And it only just keeps picking up. And it is just a fantastic movie. I have to give this 5 stars. I have to. People may disagree with me. I'm not saying that you all have to think it's the best movie, one of the best horror films out there. But this is, in my opinion, one of the best horror films ever made. And it really shows how great John Carpenter was at one time. I can't say any good enough things about it. If you do not own this is a must-have in your DVD collection, in my opinion. So, yeah, 5 stars, perfect fucking movie. I just literally gushed for about 5 to 10 minutes about this movie. So, that is it, everybody. Those are the 2 movies this week that I decided to talk about. If you would like to chat with me about any of these films, please go to our forums. I will be happy to chat with you. Do it in the comments section or email us at bloodyscreenpodcast@gmail.com. Any of those 3 ways would work. I'd love to talk to you about these movies. If you agree, disagree. Hell, I love even if we just get in that whole thing like, oh my fucking god, that was so good. Both fantastic films. Both you have to see. Honestly, if you have not seen these, I know there's younger people out there, literally younger people, you want to put one on your friends, go see The Thing. Rent The Thing, actually I would say buy The Thing. You get The Thing, you'd be like, oh guys, it's movie time, and all the older people out there, you'd be like, fuck yeah, Brandon, this is awesome. So, I know, I just had to throw that last little thing in there. So do those 3 things if you want to chat about it. Until then, everybody, all my movie-going bastards out there, keep going. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, that's it, everybody.